Good morning and a very warm welcome from the Beckhoff booth at the Hannover Trade Show 2026. It's Tuesday and today it's a more regular day on the exhibition for us. Yesterday was very special. We had politics as the German politicians as our guests. The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz came by, our Federal Minister of Economy Katharina Reiche came around, and also our Federal Minister for Research, Technology and Space showed up. It was a great pleasure to welcome all these politicians here with us on the booth to show them our technology and also to get into an exchange with them and to talk also a little bit about our needs. So we are very pleased as a company to have all these very high-level visitors in the German politics, but today we are much more in our comfort zone again. Today it's only about automation technology. We have two exciting customers with us from Dexterity from the USA and Kraus Naimer from Austria, and we are talking about TwinCAT and about EtherCAT. So there's not much more automation left which we could talk about after this one, I think, but for sure we will do some additional shows. If you are an automation news junkie, then Live and Interactive might be something which you really enjoy. We try to do it from every exhibition. It was a little bit something which we came up, in a situation where we couldn't go to an exhibition during the pandemic in 2020, but nowadays it's our standard and we like to broadcast, we love to broadcast to you guys from our exhibitions in Hannover, sometimes Munich and Nuremberg. But before Live and Interactive, there was the written word. So the PC Control might be something which some of you are very familiar with. It's our automation magazine which we produce, create and print since 2001. Annually we make 4 episodes of it, so for every quarter one. We also do some specials, so in a few weeks from now the Interpack, the International Packaging Trade Show, is starting in Düsseldorf, and there we are doing a packaging special. We have 4 people working in the newsroom for our PC Control, and we are printing about 32,000 pieces for each round, so 9,000 of them in Germany, 23,000 in English, and maybe some of you might have this magazine at their desk and might have a look into it. I had a look into this episode from 2025 and I found a company from Austria which stood out with very, very short field bus cycles. It's the Austrian company Kraus Naimer, and I'm delighted to have Ibrahim Podrimya standing here on our booth today. And Ibrahim, you are doing something which is not so completely natural to me. You are working with cam switches.
Hi, Felix.
Switching units. Can you explain me what is a cam switching unit? And hi, first of all.
Nice to meet you. A cam switch unit is a mechanical switch that has a cam inside, and the cam has a specific contour shape, and the cam is connected to a shaft adapter, and when the shaft adapter turns, the cam open or closes contacts inside the switch gear.
So you have to imagine it like it's a layer of discs upon discs upon discs, so up to
12
okay.
stages.
And every disc looks individually, and you basically manufacture the discs according to the switching requirements, right?
Yes, the cams are customer specific, and we can realize up from 12 to 24 switch positions, and therefore, yes.
So a lot of mechanical situations which you have to test for and where you have to make sure that the logic of the switching works out. You are producing and testing them in Weikersdorf am Steinfelde in Austria. Can you tell me a little bit how the testing of such a cam switching unit looks like?
Every switch that leaves our production is tested by a test station.
Yeah.
The test station contacts the terminal blocks, the terminals of the switch gear, and it's necessary to record every degree of the turning from the shaft adapter and to check the inputs from the switch gear.
Okay. So there is basically a lot of needles contacting the cam switching unit. Then you put a certain load on one needle, you turn by a degree, and then you check if the right output is basically set.
Yes. Every contact is with every degree every contact is checked if the contact is here or not here. Yeah.
So there is thousands and thousands upon different situations which you need to check for, right?
Of course.
I can imagine that like one turn is very short and very simple. The technical requirements are still very, very high level. Why do you require a 25 microsecond field bus cycle for that?
Because it's very difficult to record every contact situation per every degree of the switch, and therefore it's necessary to have very short cycle times, and that we have realized with the Beckhoff PLC.
Okay. So PLC in the middle gets the signal from the encoder, digital inputs, digital outputs connected to the needles, just turn, and then how long does the entire testing take?
For a whole turnaround, we will take at maximum 2 seconds.
Wow, okay, so it's very few people who work in testing, I think,
Yes,
right?
of course,
That's very cool. Okay, so very short cycles, just to put this into perspective. So if we do complex motion technology, XDS and X-Planar, we work with a 250 microsecond field bus cycle. Here it's 25 microseconds, so 10 times faster to ensure these short labor times, basically.
Yes.
When you now you have realized, I would say, a top-notch testing application, what does the future hold for you? What are you thinking about in addition to that?
Yes, we would like to harmonize our system landscape in the control technology, and we would like to take further steps with Beckhoff, and I will look forward to use XLP or X-Planar technology for future projects.
Wonderful. So it would be lovely if we could also do some assembly together. Ibrahim, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day here at the trade show. Thanks for joining us all the way from Austria. And I would like to now hand over to Roland, because he's with Oliver. And Oliver is a member of the EtherCAT technology group. And Ibrahim just explained it. EtherCAT is really the backbone, the core of such application, and basically of every high-performance application which there is. So enjoy with Roland. I think he's just around the corner.
Yes, I tried to make my way through because the booth is getting crowded. I think this is so amazing that we talk about this application with 25 microsecond cycle time based on EtherCAT. And I'm really proud about this because EtherCAT is basically a Beckhoff invention. So we invented EtherCAT in the year 2003 already. But when we talk about EtherCAT, we need to talk with Oliver because he is one of our really deep experts about EtherCAT. So good morning, Oliver. It's
good morning, Roland.
To have you. Now, what is the secret behind this performance from EtherCAT?
This is simple. It's because of the unique functional principle of EtherCAT. So unlike with traditional field bus systems, with EtherCAT we are processing the data on the fly. So that means while the frame is passing the devices, the data is written into the device or read out of the device. You can put that into a picture like with a high-speed train that is not stopping at a train station, and the train stations are the equivalent of each EtherCAT device, and people can still hop on or hop off the train while the train is passing by. And this is the same what is happening in every EtherCAT device, and therefore we are avoiding a lot of delays which you typically have in traditional field bus systems. And with the EtherCAT chip, which is a standard chip within each EtherCAT device, we cannot only achieve that great performance in processing the data, we can also synchronize the devices in a very precise way.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still, the frame still needs to go through the entire network, so there must be a time delay. So how can you make it happen to synchronize then each individual part of this?
Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
So the answer also here is pretty simple, and it's a built-in mechanism since the beginning of EtherCAT. It's called the distributed clocks functionality, and with this principle of the distributed clocks, we can synchronize each device in a very precise way. How is that done? Yeah. Also here, when the controller is sending out the frame, the controller can measure the time difference between the leaving and the returning frame, and measure that time difference and adjust the internal clocks of the devices accordingly. And this allows us, for example, to collect data of a widely distributed network in a very precise way with an accuracy of better than 1 microsecond.
Well, this is incredibly accurate, and still also incredible fast. So excellent. Now, I think speed matters is one thing, but are there other reasons to rely on EtherCAT for the field bus communication?
In general, I think the field bus performance is underestimated because we have to keep in mind that the field bus is the core of our control architecture. One may think, okay, nowadays I have a powerful controller with multi-core CPUs, so we can execute PLC code in no time. And if I have a powerful controller and use a, let's say, traditional field bus systems, I have a powerful machine. But you may have to think again about that because the field bus is often the bottleneck, and with EtherCAT we can now match the performance on the field bus side with the performance of the controller.
Okay, now I got the fastest network, excellent known, but the thing is that my I/O devices, they develop over time. I got new terminals, I got new functions here, measurement functions, I got safety, I got explosion-proof terminals. There are always so many new input-output modules are coming. So what do I do with EtherCAT? So I have to change the protocol, I have to update it, or how can we work with newer technologies and EtherCAT together?
And this is one, also to say one unique feature of EtherCAT, that's the stability. So we're talking about version 1.0, so to say, since 23 years. Unlike we did a lot of technology enhancements, what you mentioned to the technology, like added a safety protocol layer, like added functions for the semiconductor industry like device profiles or the enhanced configuration diagnostic interface on the master side. We still kept the technology 100% downwards compatible, and this is unique in the industry that you have a stable technology since 23 years, and this results in the biggest product variety, and this has a direct benefit for all the users of the technology. Why? Because they can select the product that fits to their application perfectly.
Well, now I know as EtherCAT is around 23 years, it started with a simple Ethernet port on the PC. So there's nothing special, it's just a regular port. In the old days, this was only a 100 Mbit port. Now today, at least 1 gigabit is standard. Can we also utilize more bandwidth with EtherCAT, or are we stuck into 100 megabit communication?
No, we're not stuck with 100 megabit. First of all, I have to say 100 megabit is most sufficient, or is sufficient for most of the applications we have nowadays. For sure, there might be some applications that demand more bandwidth, like measurement applications or vision, if I want to include that. And therefore, we can use the latest enhancement of the EtherCAT technology, and that's EtherCAT G. And here we simply scale the 100 megabit to 1 gigabit level. And on the controller side, we only need a gigabit port, which is typically provided as standard on the IPC side, and then we can make full use of the gigabit bandwidth with EtherCAT. And with the new EtherCAT branch controller, and I call it the new magical device, we can integrate all the existing 100 megabit networks into segments and do a parallel processing of the 100 megabit networks in a gigabit branch, and therefore lower the cycle time again and make EtherCAT future-proof, and that all with the compatibility of gigabit and 100 megabit in one network.
I think it's really amazing. In this industry you're working at 23 years, it's a long period of time, and normally things are not compatible anymore. So the key point is it's still version 1 and compatible, it improves in performance, and it is still the fastest field bus communication you can get. Oliver, thanks for the insight. What we also have compatible for a long period of time is our TwinCAT version. And I'm really delighted that we have now from the US, my dear colleague Damon with Felix together.
But before we talk with Damon, who I'm also really much looking forward to, I would like to open a very small bracket. And the very small bracket is when we are talking about TwinCAT, when we are talking about IPCs, all of our products, and also EtherCAT, we have to address the Cyber Resilience Act, at least a little bit. And this is a topic which is wide and colorful, so we think it's a bit short-sighted to address it here at Live and Interactive, where we only have a few minutes. So we prepared a small website for you where you can find comprehensive information on the Cyber Resilience Act, everything basically together there for you. You can find the link now in the chat and also later on our website. But now we have to transition to TwinCAT. And as I said, I'm very delighted to have Damon with me, who joined us all the way from beautiful Fort Collins in Denver, Colorado, to talk about TwinCAT.
Yeah.
Damon, what's so new with TwinCAT all the time?
There's always stuff new with TwinCAT.
Okay.
So, even starting from 1996 when we first released TwinCAT, we're continually it's continually evolving with new features, new tooling. There's always something new. I mean, when we went into Visual Studio in 2010, always something new.
In 1996, by the way, Oliver Bierhoff scored the first and only golden goal to decide the European Soccer Championship for Germany.
Okay.
So the rule is not in there anymore, but that's a side note. It's a thing in the distant past to be proud of. So we are here in the Highlight Forum. What do we have in the Highlight Forum for 2026 at Hannover?
Good question. So in the Highlight Forum, we're showing a lot of things, such as PLC++.
Right behind us, yes.
Behind us, yeah. And the innovations like MC3, for example. So there's quite a few new things to talk about. Machine Learning Creator, for example.
Yeah. The Machine Learning Creator is one important part of our AI-based products, you could say. Can you walk us very briefly through it?
Yeah. Well, our AI journey started some years ago with a real-time inference engine in TwinCAT, and recently some of the innovations of Machine Learning Creator, it gives the ability for bring that to vision. So you can take images of your application, drag and drop those in, train the model, and then put those running on the controller. And it really helps bring complicated vision applications really quickly and easily into the controller, into the machine. Innovate rapidly.
Okay, so I think that's a first area of where customers can use AI, Machine Learning Creator. That's basically decision making in real time, so while the system is operating, based on a model, not on an algorithm anymore.
Correct.
Now we have the co-agent and the generative AI topic. What's the difference? What's there new?
Yeah, okay, so co-agent has a couple parts. We'll start with the generative AI side. So in TwinCAT, being able to, from a prompt, generate PLC code. Please generate a function block that has this motion profile, or please bring a state machine that has these different steps, generate that in and merge it really cleanly into the existing PLC project. Or it'll do interesting things. Like I saw a customer that decided, hey, I have this really big I/O network. I want to put that in for simulation. They took the electrical drawing, uploaded it into TwinCAT co-agent, and said, please generate the I/O tree and the TwinCAT configuration from it, and automatically generated it and built it out. Second part of co-agent is on the machine, so TwinCAT for operations. And it's really interesting. It's going to change the way that maintenance people and operators interact with machines. It's great. You can ask the machine, how many parts did I make in the last hour? What's the average cycle time? Hey, I have something going on with my network. Can you help me identify it quickly? And it says, yes, you should check between this device and this device. There might be some sort of a cabling problem. So it's really bringing some new possibilities to the engineering side and the operations side.
Okay, so we basically now have a natural language interface. You can speak with the machine in all kinds of different languages,
so
right?
The way that ties in is behind co-agent, instead of having a standard Beckhoff model, which may come in the future, you can tie it to Claude Code, you can tie it to ChatGPT, and it uses these MCP connectors, which are very common in machine learning at this point. It was a new innovation that grew very, very rapidly, and for those that aren't really familiar with it, I like to think of it loosely as maybe the USB for machine learning models. So you can really plug it in different ways. So you can say, hey, Claude, I would like to then generate the machine learning or the TwinCAT configuration. And so TwinCAT or Claude can then interact with TwinCAT through these MCP connections.
So it's a generic interface for all the TwinCAT functionalities for the generative AI.
You choose your model, and if another model becomes stronger than another one in the future, you can choose and switch behind the scenes within co-agent configuration.
Okay. So we are improving based on the basics, so PLC++ gives more performance, better maintainability for classical PLC programming. MC3 is also improving the performance of motion. We have the advancements due to AI with machine learning, the co-agent. What are the key takeaways for our dear TwinCAT users for this Hannover Messe?
Yeah, I mean, all of these things mean a few things. They can be more efficient and do more on the device with some of the faster PLC++ and MC3 execution times, but also generate out, honestly, I would say the mundane tasks of, hey, building a case statement, putting in some code. We want to get that as fast as possible, so these really talented engineers that are using TwinCAT, the really innovative engineers, that's why they're using Beckhoff, can build more innovative solutions in their machines. They can spend more time thinking about crazy machine concepts that really put them in front of their competitors, and we'd love to enable our customers to do that. So, yeah, taking away the mundane tasks and being
Focus
innovative.
on the fun stuff and thinking more about creative solutions for the
Exactly,
actual problems
creative
which are there.
solutions.
Damon, I think that's a wonderful statement for our highlight forum, but also for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy the day here in Hannover and also the booth party tonight.
Yeah,
so we're
for
looking
sure.
forward to that one. And I would like to now hand over to Roland, who is with another gentleman from the United States. For David from Dexterity is with us, and Dexterity is really utilizing all aspects of PC-based control. And so I'm really excited for what he has brought with him and what Roland can get from him.
And we're also moving from beautiful Denver to beautiful California. Actually, we go into the Bay Area, into the Silicon Valley. And it's a really pleasure that David made it all the way over to here, because it's 1 p.m. at night at your home country. And now it's 10 in Germany. So good morning. Good to have you, David.
Good morning, Roland. Thanks
Now,
for having me.
you represent the company Dexterity. I think it's not known for most of the people. So first of all, what is Dexterity actually doing?
Sure, yeah. Dexterity is a company that specializes in robotics and a physical AI platform. And it could do many different applications, but we've kind of focused on the warehouse logistics automation, specifically truck loading, unloading, palletizing, depalletizing, singulation, and a bunch of different applications, and excited to move on to other applications as well.
Okay, so you utilize robots to handle parcels more or less, which is, I think, not that brand new. I think during our interview we will dig into it. So what is the special way Dexterity does this? Now, when I looked up the internet webpage from you, you mentioned that the founding was based on the next great leap in AI isn't another chatbot. It is giving machines intelligence to operate in unstructured physical environments that the real world demands. So what is, from your point of view, the real world demanding?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the real world demands automation, especially for these tasks that are repetitive, dangerous, just generally like terrible to do for humans. And specifically in the truck loading and unloading, that world demands a robot to be able to physically understand its environment and be able to just like us as humans, be able to use its senses to be able to pick up the parcel, build walls when it's loading trucks, and unbuild walls when it's unloading trucks. And we've developed this robot that is a physical AI platform. So you can imagine it's a wheeled robot with 2 robotic arms on it, full vision system that interfaces with the material handling solution to be able to actually load and unload these trailers.
I mean, you just mentioned you want to build a wall with parcels. So I think you need to have a big knowledge when you pack such a truck. And you mentioned that you need sensors for this. You want to enable the robot and add sensors. So what sensors is missing, or what are you putting to the robot?
Yeah, so just like you and me, it needs to be able to see, feel, touch. And so we use vision, we use all loads of different types of sensors when it comes to force, torque, LiDAR scanning. Even when it comes down to the power consumption, everything is a multi-sensor fusion model to create this world model for it to essentially understand its current scenario, but also to be able to predict the future, to be able to load and these walls in the most stable way possible.
So with all these sensors, you gather a lot of information, obviously. Now, you decided a little while ago to use Beckhoff also as a preferred automation partner, which we really appreciate. So what was the reason behind picking Beckhoff as automation partner?
Yeah, so in order for us to create a product that's scalable, we needed to unify both control and safety to make it so it's compatible with the customer's requirements. And Beckhoff was an obvious choice because we use EtherCAT already for the control system. So to add safety to that same communication protocol, it's just a full unified system and allows us to innovate and have foundation as the safety as the foundation of the robot. And we can build on it, and allows a lot of flexibility to use this platform in multiple different types of scenarios.
I think especially the safety point of view must be a key point, because once a person operates to load the car, I mean, he takes care about the safety, hopefully.
Right.
At the moment where you use a robot to do this, I think you need to make sure that the system runs in safe operations.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Now, you're also using physical AI. So you go actually a step further with AI, use physical AI on your platform to operate the system. So why have you chosen to work together with physical AI, and what does this AI for you?
Yeah, so we have a supercomputer that runs locally on the mech, and it uses this full multi-sensor fusion to create a world model to be able to understand it's the total environment. All the packages that we specialize in are multi-SKU, so it means that every single package is completely different than the other one. And in order for it to create stable walls when it's loading trucks, it has to be able to really think about all the conditions and predict using foresight what packages will be coming up next, and to be able to place them in very strategic ways to be able to create the most efficient, fastest walls possible.
So I can really believe that it's from a very small box all the way to a big parcel. It doesn't matter at all for your application?
Right, yeah, exactly.
I found another statement on your webpage, obviously, and this is actually recalling the company FedEx, one of the biggest logistic companies at all, because FedEx chose you as a strategic partner, and they mentioned that the key technology partner for future logistics is Dexterity. So why did FedEx actually pick you?
Yeah, so FedEx has been a great customer of ours. We really spent a long time understanding exactly what they need for their current situation. Being able to have the lowest cost of entry, to be able to use or create a platform that works well with their facilities in the United States and in other places. And so we're able to essentially automate this truck loading and unloading application in a way that works seamlessly with their existing environment with very, very few changes. And then we're able to actually meet and exceed their requirements for performance and for safety.
Well, now let's sum it up. I mean, FedEx is one company, but basically it's not limited to a parcel or shipping company. I think this technology and your robot system can be used in every warehouse, more or less. Is there a limitation that it cannot be used at other warehouses? It is limited only to like a FedEx company?
No, absolutely not. So yeah, it's a platform, and because we use EtherCAT, it's a very flexible platform. So we have a core physical AI platform with the robotics and all the compute necessary to be able to run these AI skills, and then be able to adapt it with additional accessories for specific different applications that work well and with many other customers. So pretty much every big customer requires unloading and loading of trucks, and we offer a platform to be able to solve these complex tasks in a reliable and scalable way.
So latest, greatest technology, even AI actually helps you to make this process faster, more reliable, and also less painful for human beings, because I'm sure loading a truck is not a nice job to do.
Oh no, and it's a very difficult job to keep people wanting to actually do that. So it's dangerous. It's usually a very extreme temperature environments, which is one thing that we spent a lot of time developing to be able to let the robot can handle these extreme temperature environments. But also with this new mech, the robot that we provide, it's going to create all sorts of different job opportunities, from being able to service, be able to actually maintain, all sorts of jobs in assembly that are just so much more higher quality jobs than loading and unloading trailers.
Well, thanks for the insight. I think it's really amazing that you use latest great technology to really make the world a little bit a better place. Thanks, David. Have a great day here in Hannover. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. Nice
we will continue actually with the trade show overall. Thanks again for joining us. The day today will be filled with a lot of international customers here, because I know already we have visitors from the UK, from Estonia, Lithuania, from Portugal, Finland, Germany. I will meet people from Denmark, China, Japan, and of course many other peoples. Tomorrow is another technical session. But before we jump to tomorrow, you answered most questions, but one was missing, right?
One was missing. We actually had a lot of questions about availability of co-agent after the
yes,
basic
for sure.
explanation.
Everybody needs a co-agent.
Everybody wants the co-agent. Co-agent for sure.
Yeah.
I want to address that. So the co-agent, we're going to have a public beta starting around August, and then depending on the good customer feedback, hopefully release shortly thereafter. So then everybody can get their hands on it and start doing more innovative things and faster in TwinCAT with LLMs.
Perfect. And you see, we follow our structure. Like we talked about Linux yesterday, we started with the beta first, and afterwards we have the release. Same is done now with the co-agent. Besides the co-agent, tomorrow's broadcast will talk about IOs, We have the new Motion AX1000 with us. I am more than honored to talk about the next multi-touch panel series. We have some TwinCAT HMI topics, and we would also dig into service and availability issues. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful day, and I will trust on you to see you tomorrow.
And I swear I know her face. I just don't know who you are. Turn the music up in here. I still hear her loud and clear, like she's right there in my ear, telling me that she wants to